Jessie L. Weston's From Ritual to Romance, continuing Tammuz and Adonis. Can anything be more expressive of the community of life, animating the whole of nature than this poignantly worded lament? A point which differentiates the worship of Tammuz from the kindred and better known cult of Adonis is the fact that we have no liturgical record of the celebration of the resurrection of the deity. It certainly, well, the alleged deity, it certainly took place, for the effects are referred to. Where the grass was not, there grass is eaten. Where the water was not, water is drunk. Where the cattle sheds were not, the cattle sheds are built. While this distinctly implies the revival of a vegetable and animal life, those features, i.e. the resurrection and sacred marriage, which made the Adonis ritual one of rejoicing as much as of lamentation, are absent from liturgical remains of the Tammuz cults. What we have been able to ascertain of the Sumerian Babylonian religion points to it rather than as a religion of mourning and supplication than of joy and thanksgiving. The people seem to have been in perpetual dread of what they considered to be their gods, who required to be appeased by continual acts of humiliation. Thus the 9th, 15th, 19th, 28th, and 29th of the month were all days of sackcloth and ashes, days of wailing. The 19th especially was the day of the wrath of Gulu. And remember, the 19th day of the lunar month is the day when darkness becomes dominant again. Well, it becomes clear that it's darkening. A detail which has attracted the attention of scholars is the lack of any artistic representation of the ritual, a lack which is the more striking in view of the important position which these wailings for Tammuz occupy in the extant remains of Babylonian liturgies. On this point, Mr. Langdon makes an interesting suggestion. It is probable that the service of wailing for the dying god, as they would have thought him, the descendant of the mother, and the resurrection were attended by mysterious rituals. The actual mysteries may have been performed in the secret chamber, and consequently the scenes were forbidden in art. Remember how the early Christians, the newer members were kept from the latter parts of the Mass? This would account for the surprising dearth of archaeological evidence concerning a cult upon which the very life of mankind was supposed to depend, in view of the fact that my suggestion as to the possible later development of these life cults as mysteries has aroused considerable opposition. It is well to bear in mind that such development is held by those best acquainted with the earliest forms of the ritual to have been not merely possible, but to have actually taken place, and that at a very remote date. Mr. Langdon quotes a passage referring to kings who in their day played the role of Tammuz in the mystery of this cult. He considers that here we have to do with kings who, by symbolic act, escaped the final penalty of sacrifice as representative of a dying god. The full importance of the evidence above set forth will become more clearly apparent as we proceed with our investigation. Here I would simply draw attention to the fact that we now possess definite proof that at a period of some 3,000 years BCE, the idea of a being upon whose life and reproductive activities, the very essence of nature, and its corresponding energies was held to depend, yet who was himself subject to the vicissitudes of declining powers and death, like an ordinary mortal, had already assumed a fixed and practically final form, rather than this form was specially crystallized in ritual observances. In our study of the latter manifestations of this cult, we shall find that the central idea is always and unalterably the same, and is moreover frequently accompanied by a remarkable correspondence of detail. The chain of evidence is already strong, and we may justly claim that the links added by further research strengthen while they lengthen that chain.